Same expression, different day. Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to another edition of the dceu Daily. Look at this. Look at it. Look at it. We are on Apocalypse in another Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut trailer tease. But this isn't enough because just behind him is this person. Granny Goodness herself. And doesn't she look awesome? I have no idea who's playing Granny. Nobody, I don't care how connected you think you are, knew we were going to spend any time on Apocalypse in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut or see Granny freaking Goodness. It's amazing. And this poses the question, of course, and you can follow me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad and tag me and continue the conversation. But none of us could have known that we were going to be spending any time on Apocalypse in this Justice League movie. This is not just righting a wrong from Justice League. Justice League is proving worse than we ever thought. One blue check mark, a positive one, and there are ones who love Zack and his Snyderverse vision, said, who the fuck would cut this kind of stuff out of this movie? Amazing. And then we have to ask the question, how long are we spending on Apocalypse? Now, don't forget, this is a 4-hour movie. So we could be spending the same amount of time on Apocalypse as we did on Krypton in Man of Steel. Or we could be spending an even longer amount of time, the same amount of time we spent on Fantasy Island, aka Themyscira, in Wonder Woman 2017. Wouldn't that be amazing? And with Ava DuVernay developing her own new gods, Zack Snyder could be putting Ava DuVernay out of a job. But seriously, as we're going into a multiverse strategy, there's nothing wrong with Zack having his version of Apocalypse and Ava having her own version of Apocalypse with Tom King. But this is very, very exciting. And just imagine what we're going to get in the next trailer tease, which is, I'm recording this video on a Saturday morning. So later on tonight here in Europe, Zack will reveal another trailer tease from Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. I'm very, very excited. What are we going to see? I don't know. But what he is doing, he's revealing things we didn't know we were going to see. And this, my friends, is very, very exciting. I'm so hyped for this extended trailer, which is coming out on Valentine's Day, Sunday. But I tell you what, and this video will probably hit you sometime on Sunday or Saturday night if you're in America. I don't know. I can't work out the time differences anymore. But I, for one, I'm not a smart ass, and I never knew we would spend any time on Apocalypse. I thought we would see Euxus in the history lesson, which is young Darkseid. I thought we would see him at the end of the movie when he's got his foot on Steppenwolf's severed head, because Diana chops his head off, right? But I never thought we would be seeing him on his home world of Apocalypse. And that's fantastic. Someone made a joke saying, well, people are acting like we've never seen Darkseid in live action DC before, talking about Smallville. I don't think we should really get into that. I love Smallville, but I don't really want to get into Darkseid in Smallville because I'm going to be negative. The idea of Clark and the team being affected, being made darker people because of what Darkseid is doing from a distance was a great idea. But once we saw Darkseid himself, and Darkseid Lionel was terrible, and, terrible disrespect for John Glover, who played Lionel Luthor for 7 seasons on Smallville. But again, I shouldn't be getting into that. But this, my friends, is awesome because none of us thought we would be getting this much of Apocalypse, or especially Granny Goodness. Granny Goodness is a character in her own right. It's going to be interesting if we're just going to see her standing there or if she's got some dialogue. I assume that she has. But this, my friends, leads to something even bigger Because if this film hits as big as I think it's going to be, there could be more. There could be more apocalypse, more granny goodness. An apocalypse movie from Zack Snyder. How awesome would that be? The potential for the Snyderverse is limitless. And Cooper Hood of Screen Rant expands on this granny goodness conversation, which I'm very interested in continuing, and I'm sure you fans out there are interested in continuing as well. Listen, if you're a DC fan, it's not just about Snyder. You should be excited about this. Not that I want to decide what you should be excited about, but Jesus Christ, these are things we've dreamt about being in live action all our lives since we were little kids. Come off of it. Zack Snyder confirms Justice League introduces Granny Goodness. Zack Snyder confirms Granny Goodness appears in the Justice League Snyder Cut after some spot the character in the recent trailer teaser. Zack Snyder confirms Granny Goodness appears in Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4-hour Snyder Cut coming to HBO Max in March. When Snyder exited Justice League in early 2017, Warner Brothers reshot and re-edited the movie to meet its vision, and vision using the terms loosely, right? And the theatrical cut was noticeably different than what many expected. Following nearly 3-year campaign to restore his vision and release the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League was officially announced in 2020. The new cut will be even more than Snyder previously intended, after reshoots helped add a few new scenes. Zack Snyder's Justice League is roughly a month away from debuting on HBO Max, and that means the marketing campaign is starting to heat up. The first look at Jared Leto's Nightmare Joker in Justice League was recently released and showed a very different look for the Clown Prince of Crime. He's one of many characters who will appear in the Snyder Cut after not showing up for various reasons in Justice League. Snyder has not been shy to confirm characters like Iris West, Ryan Choi, Martian Manhunter and Darkseid are being brought back into his cut thanks to another piece of marketing. Granny Goodness is now confirmed to appear too. Imagine that. Imagine the names that Cooper's just listed there that I've just read out to you. Why wouldn't any DC fan want to at least see this film once? Come off of it. There's no DC movie that can boast these type of DC huge characters. Come off of it. Anyway, in the lead up to the full trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League arriving on Valentine's Day, Snyder has dropped another trailer teaser. The new Justice League teaser showed Darkseid on Apocalypse with his army behind him. Darkseid's henchman, Desaad, is featured on the left side of the footage, but an unknown female character was positioned on the right. Many immediately began to wonder if this could be Granny Goodness, Darkseid's daughter, Grail, or another DC character. This led one to ask Snyder on Vero via Four-Eyed Raven, who she's great by the way, who this woman was, and he's confirmed that it is Granny Goodness. No shit, Sherlock, but thank you for that, Zach. So here's Oracle. Oracle's great. Zach just confirmed that this, in fact, is Granny Goodness. So this is basically what happened. So basically, there's a caption here. It is, yeah. So basically, on Vero, he confirms it is Granny Goodness. So we go on in the article. Granny Goodness is the commander of Darkseid's army in the comics, who uses torture methods to turn people into extremely loyal followers of Darkseid. She's also a powerful member of the New Gods, who is an expert in combat. Granny Goodness also leads a group known as the Female Furies, giving her a strong connection to DC characters like Big Barda. She even was responsible for raising Mr. Miracle prior to his escape. Granny Goodness is expected to appear in Ava DuVernay's New Gods movie, but it is unknown how or if that film was supposed to connect to Justice League. I don't think it will connect to anything Snyder's doing, because she's going to want to cast her own people and do her own thing, but we are in this multiverse strategy, so that's perfectly fine. I'm cool with that. Now that Granny Goodness is confirmed for Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's natural to wonder what her role in the film will be. It is possible she'll play a role in Snyder's revamped version of the original Earth invasion featuring young Darkseid. If Granny Goodness doesn't join that fight, her appearance in Justice League could be merely a cameo that was meant to set up Snyder's larger plans. So far, the actress portraying Granny Goodness is unknown, with Zack Snyder's Justice League just a month away, it won't be long before her identity is discovered. So, what kind of role is she playing? You know, it all depends how long we're spending on Apocalypse. Is he really going to set up Apocalypse in this film? Well, it's interesting because, as I say, it's a 4-hour movie, and I have posed this question to you lot before. There's 4 hours of movie here, so there's a lot of screen time to be had here. You would imagine that there's a great chance that we could spend about 20 to 30 minutes on Apocalypse in a 4-hour movie. Now, if that doesn't happen, I won't be pissed off or anything, but I'm just saying, Zack Snyder all of a sudden is showing us what he meant. Excuse me, my lungs can't take the excitement, but he's showing us what he meant by shooting all his bullets out. Zack Snyder knew that the gods of the old regime of WB were raging against him. So he came up with a very, very, very clever idea. I'm going to shoot all the shit that I want, and I'm going to shoot all the shit that they want. If they get their way and I don't get my movie out there, I will fight for it afterwards. He planned all of this. As I keep on saying, Zack Snyder is a tactical genius. And what he's doing with these reveals and these trailer teases is showing, and this is what he said to Fiona as well, and Fiona told us on Twitter, that this is a trailer. So mainstream audiences, but most importantly, DC diehard fans will say, Jesus Christ, we're getting things we've never had before. And although I don't particularly like Snyder and what he does, I'm interested now, and I'm getting my subscription for HBO Max, and I'm going to be watching this movie. So all of a sudden, Zack's doing what he's always done in his fight for the Snyder Cut, telling us what he would have done. But now it's not just him telling us, we're actually going to see it. Now, I heard a rumour that Zack's putting a 10-minute intermission in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut movie. Now, I reacted without reading the article initially, and I thought, you know, if I'm watching this version, right, and I'm at home, I'm just going to fast forward it. I don't need an intermission. I just want to watch the movie. But I was too reactionary, and I apologise, Zack, because this is what actually he's trying to do, which is actually really exciting. Justice League Snyder Cut has 10-minute intermission for theatrical showings. So when is this going to be released in the theatres? He's clearly sure that it's going to happen. Zack Snyder reveals his upcoming cut of Justice League has a 10-minute intermission. Work in that will be featured in possible theatrical showings. Possible, by Chris Ager. Justice League Snyder Cut has a 10-minute intermission worked in for possible theatrical screening. When the Snyder Cut was officially announced last year, one of the biggest questions concerning it was the matter in which it would be released. Reports indicated it would either be as a TV miniseries or a feature film. Initially, it was said it would be a 4-part show, but that was later changed to Justice League being a single 4-hour movie debuting on HBO Max on March the 18th. There are plenty of examples of blockbuster films with protracted runtimes in excess of 2.5 or even 3 hours like Avengers Endgame. But even with those in mind, the Snyder Cut comes in an atypically long 4 hours. It's a long time to spend watching one thing. Not for me. Regardless of how invested an individual viewer is, luckily Zack Snyder himself appears to be contingent on that and is making sure he breaks Justice League up so it's a bit more manageable. Listen, I can watch a 4-hour movie, for crying out loud. While appearing on the I-Minuton podcast, Snyder discussed Justice League's runtime and why it's so long. One of the reasons is there's a brief intermission included. Read his comments below. It looks like we're going to get this intermission wherever we watch it, but luckily we have fast forward. If ever the movie is able to be viewed in the cinema, we have a 10-minute intermission which is built into the movie, which has a beautiful suite of music. So that adds an extra 10 minutes to the movie as well. So look, 10 minutes of music, probably by Junkie XL, I would imagine, would be cool. And I suppose I could go and make a cup of tea, which is great. But ultimately, I can press pause. But I know he's doing this for the theatrical release. Hopefully that happens. How can we get a theatrical release for this movie? Because I think we would all love to see this in IMAX in the cinemas, even if you can't see it in an IMAX cinema. So how's this going to happen? It's all about buzz. It's all about word of mouth. If this is a big hit on HBO Max and the Nielsen's are fantastic, then and there's an interest and a demand from more of the audience than just us, the Snyderverse fandom, then it's hitting theatres globally. We're open. And that's going to be massive for HBO Max, WB, Warner Media, and of course Zack Snyder. And if it goes on to theatres and makes even more money for the studio, we're going to get more Snyderverse. This is looking very, very positive for us who love Zack and his vision for DC. What's interesting is Snyder specifically mentioned theatres when bringing up the intermission. It'll be interesting to see if this is featured on HBO Max or not. It is interesting. There are obviously numerous differences between watching a film at the multiplex and at home. Those who watch the Snyder Cut on HBO Max will be able to freely pause and or stop whatever they want, essentially creating their own intermission or even breaking it up into more bite-sized installments, a la miniseries. That's clearly not a luxury ordered at the cinema, so it's more than likely that this is just something special planned for any theatrical screenings. It would be nice for attendees to have an opportunity to stretch their legs, and of course, cinema owners would like to give people the opportunity to go to the confectionery, so this is a great idea, by the way. Of course, it remains to be seen when the Snyder Cut gets a theatrical release, with the coronavirus pandemic still ongoing. But, as I say, it can still be released like Wonder Woman 1984 in theatres. We're open because they're not looking for $1 billion here. It's just an extended release. That's the beauty of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, isn't it? Traditionally, movie-going remains as uncertain now as it was for most of 2020. A majority of theatres in the US, including those in key markets, remain closed, and it's unknown when they'll be able to reopen. That certainly makes it more difficult to plan a Snyder Cut theatrical release. But hopefully that can take place someday. Snyder is known for crafting visually stunning, action-packed spectacles designed to be seen on the biggest of screens. Something like Justice League fits that bill. So ideally, once the pandemic is over and theatres have become safer, the Snyder Cut gets its moment at the multiplex. But as I've already said, that doesn't have to be the case, because we're not talking about this film surely waiting for this to release this. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. Once we've all got the Blu-rays at home, maybe we'll be able to go and watch it when everything's all right. But that's the big question. When is everything going to be in a position for every single movie theatre to be opened around the world? Could be a year, 2, who knows? It could be, summer, but we don't know. So I would imagine, after it's had an extended run on HBO Max and globally, I think that it could hit theatres. Because there are some theatres in the States open. It doesn't have to be the big theatres where the big money is taken. It all counts, So there's no point being greedy here. But what I maybe think may happen with movie theatres, look, these are the facts that are going to upset me and a lot of you. HBO Max isn't going to be available in every single country. It's not going to be available here in Cyprus. I'm quite sure of that. And it's not going to be available in many countries. And in the UK, I think because of Sky Atlantic, I'm not sure if HBO Max legally can be obtained. So I believe, but movie theatres, I think, in the UK are pretty shut at the moment anyway. But I think where movie theatres are open globally, if you can't get HBO Max, maybe they'll release them there and also on pay-per-view, on streaming. I think that might be the future. But I would absolutely love to see Zack Snyder's Justice League on the big screen. But ultimately, I just want to see it, and I can't wait. Remember that bullshit after Suicide Squad was released in 2016 about Jared Leto sending Margot Robbie a dead rat? Well, finally, Jared's come out to speak about this, and of course he's denying it. Jared Leto debunks Suicide Squad rumour he gave Margot Robbie a dead rat. Jared Leto denies that he gave Margot Robbie a dead rat on the set of David Ayer's Suicide Squad to get into character playing the Joker. By Christopher Fiducia. Jared Leto denies that he ever gave Margot Robbie a dead rat on the set of Suicide Squad, David Ayer's DC villain movie introduced Killer Croc, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Katana, El Diablo, Captain Boomerang, Slipknot, and the Joker to the DCEU. Actors alike Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger have been praised for playing the Joker, but audiences were less than thrilled with Leto's version. In fact, when the first look at Leto's Joker came out in 2015, the design was immediately criticised for giving the character grills and several tattoos. Even though Leto's Joker is often considered the worst of live-action versions, Leto himself has proven himself as a diverse and dedicated actor. Leto is known for really throwing himself into his characters, with many calling him a method actor after his physical transformation in Dallas Buyers Club. His approach to Suicide Squad seemed to be no different, with stories of the actor's crazy hijinks on set. Reports came out that Leto gave his Suicide Squad co-stars several odd gifts, some of which included a dead hog, pornographic magazines, bullets, and used condoms. There was also a story floating around that Leto gave Robbie, alive or dead, depending on who tells the story. But Leto has now set the record straight. According to Leto in an interview with GQ, he never gave Margot Robbie a dead rat while they were making Suicide Squad. He actually gave her something much more pleasant, cinnamon buns. Leto's full comments can be read below. Sorry, I think this is fucking hilarious. Anyone who takes this seriously is a nutter. It's also interesting how this stuff all takes on life of its own. But I never gave Margot Robbie a dead rat. That's just not true. I actually gave her a lot. I found this place in Toronto that had great vegan cinnamon buns, and that was a very common thing. It's just nuts, right? Robbie tries to maintain a vegan lifestyle, so had she actually been given a dead animal on the set of Suicide Squad, it likely would have caused an issue. It's possible that all of those reports were fabricated to generate buzz about Suicide Squad back in 2016. After all, news of Leto sending Will Smith used condoms and anal beads certainly got people's attention. Leto didn't mention any of the other gifts he supposedly left his co-stars. However, so there's no way of knowing what really happened behind the scenes. Leto clearly put a lot of effort into getting into character for the Joker. Unfortunately, his role in the final cut of Suicide Squad was significantly reduced from what he originally had in mind. Leto ended up having a very small part in Suicide Squad. If he had appeared in more scenes as Air intended, his version of the character would have been much more developed. The actor will get a chance to redeem his character scene, with Zack Snyder including the Nightmare version of the Joker in his Justice League Snyder Cut. Leto may be reprising his role in the Snyder Cut, but it's unknown if the Suicide Squad Air Cut will ever see the light of day. I will finish off about the Air Cut a bit later on in the video. I have something to say, but let's be absolutely clear, as fucking hilarious as all of that is, and I always knew that it was bullshit, any sane person, and I'm not that sane, would say the same thing. But from the marketing, Jared was very passionate about these group of actors, very passionate about playing the Joker, very passionate about David Ayer and his directing. I've never seen an actor come out publicly and be so proud of what a group of actors and a director and a set had produced. And the way he was talking, we were going to see the best DC movie of all time. Now, I enjoyed it, but we didn't see that. And that's because the movie he was talking about was never viewed. Now, a few weeks ago, you remember we were talking about, DC's Wonder Girl show at the CW. Now, this was really exciting because Wonder Girl was an interesting character, and there's a new comic book version that the CW were looking to adapt. Unfortunately, DC's Wonder Girl show cancelled at the CW. I'm disappointed about this, but this kind of alleviates what I've been saying, really, or should I say confirms what I've been saying, that the CW will just end up like DC Universe as something on HBO Max. This is what I think is going to happen. I think all their shows will be... It's like, do you remember BBC Three? There was a little channel in the UK called BBC Three. They cut the broadcast channel, they cancelled the broadcast channel, but you can see those shows on iPlayer, and they still make shows for BBC Three. And I think this is the future of the CW. I believe CBS will sell their shares to Warner Media, and I think that's the future, and I think this is why this show is not going forward. The Yara Flor Wonder Girl TV series from executive producer Greg Berlanti is officially not going forward on the CW, according to the showrun. The Wonder Girl TV show at the CW is officially not going forward, while global pandemic has affected several TV shows and the films from various studios and networks. That hasn't entirely stopped Hollywood from making new products. For the TV realm, networks and streaming services have been able to continue by following new health guidelines. When it comes to the CW, their big Arrowverse franchise didn't isn't stopping anytime soon, as shows like Batwoman and Black Lightning have recently returned to the TV screens for their new seasons. But there are changes coming to Greg Berlanti's shared DC TV universe this year on the CW. Both Black Lightning and Supergirl will be coming to an end this year, with their respective 4th and 6th seasons. The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, which haven't premiered their new season yet, have already been renewed. Another season that will premiere next year. The 2 DC dramas join Batwoman, which got an early season 3 renewal too. As old Arrowverse shows will continue, the lineup is getting a new addition with Superman and Lois. And last year, the CW unveiled plans for more future DC projects, including Wonder Girl. But it appears that the Amazon won't be joining the Arrowverse. Earlier this week, the CW ordered a few projects to pilot, but Wonder Girl wasn't mentioned. Many took this as the sign the network was still assessing its options. However, Darlene Rodriguez, who was the showrunner writer for Wonder Girl, revealed today that the project is officially not going forward on the CW. Rodriguez, who had been asked by many what the status was, revealed that the network passed on her script. Wonder Girl would have followed Yara Flor, whose parents were an Amazonian warrior and a Brazilian river god, as she discovered her powers and becomes the titular hero. Yara was recently introduced to the DC universe through the comic book event DC Future State. This is what Rodriguez had to say. Some sad news for all of those asking. Wonder Girl is not getting picked up at the CW. I was very proud of the script I wrote. I wish I could have shared the world I created, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. Thanks for everyone's enthusiasm. It meant a lot to me. And I'm sorry for Rodriguez, I really am, because I was kind of excited about that. Even though she doesn't specify it, it wouldn't be a shock if Warner Brothers TV tries to shop Wonder Girl around to other platforms. Something like HBO Max would be a solid option. Well, nobody has to shop anything in their own company. So that could be where it's heading anyway. To other platforms, something like HBO Max would be a solid option and perhaps an even more suitable solution as opposed to the CW. While Superman and Lois is getting a bigger financial support, hence why it looks different from other Arrowverse shows, perhaps the same wasn't doable for Wonder Girl. Given that Yara and the world of Amazons would require something similar, it's possible that it came down to budget issues. I agree. The Amazons are one of the corners of the DC universe that the Arrowverse hasn't yet gotten to play with. With Yara, Earth Prime would have finally had a regular Amazon, and it would have been unique to follow a character that has only recently debuted in comics. Hopefully, cancellation of Wonder Girl won't be the end of potentially having an Amazon heroine in Arrowverse. It's always possible that the CW will try to utilize the Wonder Woman franchise in another fashion down the line. The only DC drama that the CW now hasn't given an update on is Black Lightning spin-off, Painkiller, and I didn't know they were doing a spin-off. That's good news because I was disappointed that was being cancelled, whose backdoor pilot will air later this season. Until WBTV gives any updates on possibly shopping the show around, Wonder Girl will not be joining the TV slate. It's clear to me that they're attempting to do something else with it, but to me this is more evidence that we're seeing the end of the CW as a broadcast network, and it will join HBO Max. Arrowverse will be very, very different on HBO Max. It's interesting to see the future of that. But yeah, Wonder Girl was going to be a very expensive show. And as I say, I don't think the CW could afford Superman and Lois. I think that's funded by HBO Max as well. And I've noticed a few people have unfollowed me, and maybe that's the reason because I'm saying these things. And maybe they're Arrowverse fans and they're disappointed in me saying that. I can only say things how I see it. Or maybe you unfollowed me because of my opinion of Gina Carano. And I've got an update on Gina, saying that nobody else is going to be talking about. Gina Carano wasn't sacked because of any social media posts. She was sacked because she needed many, many takes to say her dialogue, and it was becoming somewhat problematic, and this is why she was removed from The Mandalorian. That's what I'm hearing. So that's not very exciting, is it? It's more dramatic to talk about politics, the right versus the left, but this is what I've heard. I've always liked her in everything I've seen. As someone on the screen, I've always liked her. But to me, it seems like she did all of this on purpose. It's like she wants to be some right-wing beacon, and maybe she wants to run for president one day. Maybe that's her game. I don't know. But But at the end of the day, she's a millionaire. She doesn't affect my life. She can say what she wants, but at the end of the day, she is done at Lucasfilm. So finally today, I promised to talk about the haircut because that's gone in the background with the Snyder Cut marketing. You know, just under a month till Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut is released. We're getting another trailer teaser later on, and we're getting the full trailer on Valentine's Day this Sunday. Very exciting, very exciting. But the haircut is taking the back burner. I've been putting my feelers out about the haircut. I am very, very confident we will see David Ayer's complete vision of that film. Obviously now there is no chance of watching it in the order we were supposed to, but we will see it sometime after the Snyder Cut. You know, as well as Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut being important for it to be successful for the future of the Snyderverse, it's also important for the haircut. So always keep that in mind. But I am confident that the haircut will be seen eventually. So we just need to be patient, keep on fighting for everything, but ultimately we need to keep on hashtagging Restore the Snyderverse. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.